Storytelling gives us a window into somebody else's humanity. If you don't see yourself represented out here in the world, you'll think you're alone. You'll think you're one of one, when in fact, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just that they have just never heard it. And so for me, especially in this time of all these anti-trans policies, there are just stories that need to be told so you can understand that people are just human and that people are just trying to live their life. And if you allow people to live their life, I promise you can live a great one too. This is what I'm called to do, to tell these stories and uplift them and give folks some hope out here.
Hi there. Welcome to the Empowered and Embodied Show. I'm Kim Romain.
And I'm Louise Neal. We're two transformational coaches who are also fellow travelers on the path of growth and self-discovery. And we're inviting you along for the ride.
That's right. We're right here in the trenches with you, navigating the ups and downs of life. And each week we'll be sharing our own experiences, bringing you conversations with amazing guests, and exploring insights and strategies that have helped us find more clarity, confidence, and ease in our lives.
And trust us, we do not have it all figured out. We're learning and growing right alongside you.
So if you're ready to rise above the chaos, doubt, and confusion that sometimes life throws our way
and step into a more empowered and embodied version of yourself,
then you're in the right place. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Empowered and Embodied Show. I am Kim Romain, one of your co-hosts, joined as always by my lovely and wonderful co-host.
That's me. I'm Louise. And we have an amazing guest today.
I'm Anna DeShawn, and it's great to be here.
Oh, Anna, we're so glad to have you here. Anna is from where I spent the last 21 years of my life. So Anna is a Chicago-born social entrepreneur and multi-award winning podcast producer and host. Media has always been her passion. And in 2009, is that correct?
That's right.
She turned that passion into a reality when she founded E3 Radio, an online radio station playing queer music and reporting on queer news with an intersectional lens. Anna was inducted into the Chicago LGBTQ Hall of Fame because of her commitment to the LGBTQ community. She is determined to ride media into its next era by utilizing digital media streams to tell the stories and play the music that deserves to be heard. How gorgeous is that? That's sexy.
We do our best, we do our best with the copywriting of the story. It's still surreal to hear sometimes. Appreciate you, Kim. Glad to be here with y'all.
So glad to have you. You have been up to such amazing things in the world. I know that media has always been in your blood. I'm curious what is so important about the stories?
For me, storytelling gives us a window into somebody else's humanity. And I've been hosting this podcast, Queer News, now for 4 years. The more I host and the more videos I make and put out here into the world, the more I understand that people just don't know, that there are stories that folks have just not heard. And if you don't see yourself represented out here in the world, you'll think you're alone. You'll think you're one of one, when in fact, there's nothing new under the sun. It's just that they have just never heard it. And so for me, especially in this time of all these anti-trans policies, there are just stories that need to be told so you can understand that people are just human and that people are just trying to live their life. And if you allow people to live their life, I promise you can live a great one too. And so for me, it is a necessity. It is what I'm called to do, to tell these stories and uplift them and give folks some hope out here.
It's so important. Not only to be seen, that place of to be seen and heard and valued as a human by being human by another human.
Yes. Yes. And yes.
It's how we all connect too, right? And I'm curious though, it's not always easy to tell our stories. What do you find helpful for folks? Because you're a storyteller, but you bring out the story in others. How do we do that? How do we, when we're scared to tell our story, how do we step up to the plate and start to speak into it?
I don't think everybody has to. I think people should do it when they're ready and when they feel safe enough to do it. In this time, in this climate right now, I don't know if it's safe for all trans folks to be out and living their lives out loud right now. I don't know if it's safe for that. I think that people have to really feel like they're going to be protected. And so that's why anytime anybody comes to me and wants to tell their story or wants to do an interview or accepts an invitation to be on the show, I really do find it as an honor because it's not necessarily, especially right now in this climate, it is not always safe to do so. So I think that if you're ready to tell your story, do it in the way that makes you feel good. It could be writing. It could be going on TikTok or Snap. It could be picking up a microphone and using your voice. There's so many ways. It could be picking up a camera and taking some photos. I think art can show up in so many different ways as it pertains to folks telling their stories. And I think that if you're ready, just find the way that works best for you. And if you're not ready, it's okay. It's okay. Don't feel pressured to do it because when you do it, you want it to be right and you want to feel whole when you do it, not tell your story and then you feel broken out here in the world. Because the internet, child, the internet is unforgiving and it does not forget. So I never want to pressure anybody to tell their story. But if you're down to do it, we're all better off for it.
Well, and you used a word in there, art, right? This is by sharing our story, we do it in so many different ways, as you said, right? Written, we do it through our music, we do it through movement, we do it through visual art. There's so many ways we can share our stories, share who we are, and combining that with a place of how do we express ourselves and how do we find safety? Because I think those two things don't feel very accessible to a lot of people in the world. And so allowing ourselves to know what is the art that I want to use as a conduit to express myself. And right, I know that in the work that you do, you're bringing some of that forward. You're allowing people to express themselves. And so you're then becoming a further conduit to allow that to broaden so other people can see themselves. It feels in many ways, it feels very regenerative when we allow ourselves, when it's right for us, to share in whatever way is right for us, express ourselves in whatever way, to allow somebody else to receive it. And then for that person who's received it to say, how now do I feel like I can express myself? And then to look for those conduits in the world to help us facilitate bringing our wisdom, our knowledge, our stories into the world. Is that what you feel like when you're in the work that you do in the media that you create? Do you feel like it's regenerative in that way?
Absolutely. People, and I get it because the only reason I know it is because people tell me so. So I appreciate everybody that sends me a note, sends me a message, drops a DM somewhere that I find 3 months later. I appreciate you so much. Because you just never know what's going to bless somebody out here in the world. You really don't. What I think might hit, don't hit, okay? And then I just keep creating. I had dropped an interview some few months ago, and it was just another interview. Ended up with text messages like, "And I really enjoyed this one. This one I needed to hear." I never know what people need to hear. What I do know is that folks tune in hopes that they're hearing something new. They tune in hoping to be informed, hoping to feel inspired in one way or another. And if I just keep doing what I'm doing in the way in which I'm doing it, then it'll impact somebody. And I know it does because people tell me so. So yeah, I absolutely think it's regenerative. And social media allows us to share it, right? In such a way that it can reach other people. So it's the only reason I continue to dance with the whatever you want to call it on this particular day, whichever
No
platform.
kidding, right?
Yeah, goodness.
So, you said something about how you're getting that feedback, how you know that it's reaching others because you actually hear that. But a lot of times we don't. Like we do because we're in a space where we get to put things out into the world, but not all storytellers are doing it that way, right? Not all storytellers are on social media or yet still have a really important story, but we don't always get that feedback to say like, well, who heard me? Like who needs to hear this story? And then who heard it? And I think sometimes it can start to feel a little lonely too in our storytelling when we're not getting that feedback, when it feels like we've said something and it's just crickets?
I have talked to myself so long. Okay. When I first started, I know in the bio, right, 2009, I know for sure I was talking to myself. Okay. There's no doubt about it. There's plenty of episodes where I wish more people heard it. I don't know if I don't know if I'm ever quite satisfied in that regard. But what I will say is that community is everything. And so if you feel like in your work or in your art you're not getting or receiving what you need in response to your work or your art, find community that is actually looking for the work and the art in which you are creating. I think often we don't always have an idea of who we want to reach, who is our audience and who we want to be speaking to. I have been very clear for a really long time that I am interested in reaching queer folks. And I say that because if I wanted to just do general news and do the news in which a way I was taught in journalism school and trying to see both sides of the story, okay, and to be unbiased as if that actually exists, but these are the things in which we are taught. And my audience would be different. It wouldn't be queer folks. It would be the general public, and I will be reporting on particular stories. But I'm clear I want to talk to queer folks and I want to talk to people that look like me and care about things that I care about. And that alone impacts the way in which I show up in the world, how I tell the stories I tell, the stories I choose to tell. The people who get no's from me know I don't want to do this interview with you. It impacts absolutely everything. And it's because my community continues to tell me that I'm doing okay. So if you're not getting it, if you're not on social, don't join it. Okay. If you're not on it, don't think I'm saying start an account. Absolutely not. But what I am saying is find your people. It was a huge part of my journey when I quit corporate 4 years ago, was to find my people. I needed to find the people who are doing the work similar to me, who are doing it better than me, who I could look up to and place myself in community with those folks so I could learn from them. So I think you absolutely need to find your people, find community. It don't got to be on social media. In real life is really great.
In real life is pretty freaking amazing. Yeah.
It is.
You're talking about being in rooms with people who have been doing it right better than you,
Yeah.
at least at that time. That can be really scary to step into those spaces and say, do I belong here? How do I belong? How did you, with your story, how did you step into those spaces with the confidence that this is the space that I can be in?
I'm really observant and I can be really quiet. I am generally pretty an introverted person. This is why I love radio. You don't got to see me. You just got to listen. Okay. You don't got to be worried about what I look like. Even in the artwork, first set of artwork for Queer News, my face is not even on the artwork. I just changed it on our 300th episode. I was talking to our associate producer, like, what should we do? She's like, I was thinking about changing the artwork. She's like, you should change the artwork. So my face is on there now, but it's just not inherently who I am or how I think about how I want to show up in the work, you know? So I think when I entered those spaces, it was really from a place of wanting to learn because it is incredibly intimidating. And when I meet people that I look up to on social media or who have broken through any type of ceiling, I just tell them thank you. I tell them thank you for showing up and doing what you're doing in the world because I know it's not easy. It's not easy for me and my audience, let alone the people who I've met who have millions of followers, right? And probably 10 more lawyers than I have and probably 30 more headaches than I've ever wanted. It takes a lot to show up and be public in this world as a person of color, maybe somebody who identifies as queer. It takes a lot. So in those spaces, I really try to listen more than I speak. I try to see how they do their work and try to learn from them. And honestly, I tell them thank you because they're helping somebody. They're helping me if nobody else. So that's how I show up in those spaces. And I definitely pray for discernment, okay? Because everybody ain't working in your favor. Some people I don't even want to meet. Don't ruin it, okay? Don't ruin it. Like, don't meet your heroes, child. Some people I never want to meet in my whole life. Just stay over there in some like really amazing bubble, okay? So don't ruin every show I've ever enjoyed, okay? Because some people are quite the disappointment. So really, truly, some people I don't want to meet. But those that I have, I tell them thank you, you know?
Yeah, it's we need those people to show us the way, and to not be afraid to step outside of that too, right? We don't have to follow someone's path to be inspired by them. right? And just seeing what they do, we get, at least I do, I get energy from that. I get like tingly. I do get inspired to say, like, somebody can do that. Somebody's that brave, right? To speak up and speak out and be, I don't want to say loud, because sometimes we can be quiet and still be loud. We can be loud in our actions, not just our words. It really does inspire me to think about, where can I be a little bit braver in my life, or what can I be doing a little bit differently, and show others the way too. Because it is, Kim, you used the word regenerative earlier, right? I feel like that inspiration sometimes feeds and keeps feeding. As it feeds us, then we feed others too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's kept you in the business so long? Like 2009. That's a long time ago.
I try not to count the years, honestly. In 2009, I was also in corporate America. So it was a hobby, passion project for a decade, really, over a decade while I was in corporate. And media has always been my jam. And I've always felt like if I'm in corporate America, that's how I'm paying my bills. That's how I'm able to have health insurance, all the things that I need from that perspective. But it's not filling my soul. Okay. It's not soul giving work. Okay. It is tasked with a deliverable that I need to execute. And so my work with the radio station, nights, weekends, that was the stuff that was filling me up. That was the stuff that was keeping me connected to community. That was the stuff that was really giving me energy. Right. So yeah, it was a long time, but honestly, it doesn't even feel like it's been that long. Only when I look back at pictures and I've got like still like pinchable cheeks and stuff like that people tell me that I remember that it has been um, that long ago. And I just grew up in a family also that just told me I could do anything I wanted to do. I never had limitations. 2009, gosh, I don't know how old I was, 20 some years old. I never felt like I couldn't do it. And so, yeah, it's been a long time, but I really do enjoy what I do. I love it. I really want to be great at it. And Robin Roberts is my North Star. So if I ever get a chance to meet her, okay, I can get the chance to tell her just that.
I love that, right? Because you just went from saying there are certain people you don't want to meet because you don't, right? Like stay in that bubble, but you know who you do want to meet.
I've only heard good things. So when multiple people tell me they've met a human, like a Robin Roberts, and everybody tells me the exact same thing, I just know I'm going to be okay. It's the ones that get mixed reviews. I'll be like, never mind. But Robin Roberts has absolutely gotten the gold stamp of approval from absolutely everybody I know who's ever met her and worked with her. So work be different. But even people who have worked with her say, no, she is like creme de la creme. So I know I'll be okay.
Well, Robin, if you happen upon the show, let's make this happen.
Yo, I'm saying, I pretty much say her name in every single episode. It's going to happen at some point. I don't know when, but it will.
It will. Enough people tag her.
You know what I'm saying? That's all it takes.
I know the Chicago landscape, having lived there for over a couple of decades. I know some of the queer community in the Chicago landscape. I even know some of the Black community, believe it or not, as a little white girl living on the North Shore. I do know some of the Black community in Chicago. Your community is I think of it as so much bigger than Chicago, because when I think of you, when I think of what you have created, I do see it as something that moves through the landscape of the United States at this point, because it touches into the heart of so many people within those communities. When you see yourself, do you still see like Chicago? Or are you seeing this bigger part of self? Are you seeing this largesse that some of the rest of us see in you?
I absolutely don't. Okay. And if you ask a person who I'm actively doing strategic planning and self work, whatever you want to call it, with, they'll tell you Anna is lost. Okay. It is very hard for me to see myself as others see me. And I do feel very Chicago every single day. Ask anybody. Chicago through and through. And I know our work is reaching far beyond this. I know this because I go outside and those folks tell me. I've met people from Africa. I've met people from the UK. I've met people from around the world who listen to the show or find my videos or repost my videos and just tell me how much my presence and my voice means to them. All of that makes me incredibly uncomfortable, Kim and Louise. And I am actively working through how I want to be seen in the world, how I want people to feel when they meet me or hear my voice in the world. So I'm actively working through it. Chile, I thought I had gotten past this. And clearly I have not doing this work that I'm currently doing. Even this morning, as I wrote a note to send the people to tell me how they see me in the world or how they feel when they see me in the world. It's something I'm still actively working through. And I know that the work is important. And I know that the work has reached far beyond the city I grew up in. And that makes me very proud.
That's so beautiful. And it is, we don't know the impact. Sometimes we get a note from across the globe and we go, wow. But we so often don't actually see the impact that we're truly making. I know, Louise, you've shared stories with me about the ripple effect and how far out that has gone with clients of yours coming back to you and saying that. It's pretty amazing. And I know that place of like, how do we embody, right? In the name of the podcast there, how do we embody? No pun intended at all. How do we begin to embody some of that? How do we begin to do that work? And I love that you're actively working with somebody to support you in that way, because it is so important that even if we can't see what the fullness of our impact is, that we can embody some aspect of it for ourselves. Because what a beautiful gift for ourselves to be able to feel that impact back to us.
Yes, yes, and yes. And I also think it's important for me to get this clarity so I can know how I want to show up in the world, right?
Yeah.
I'm very clear when it comes to my businesses. I'm very clear how I want E3 Radio to be received in the world. I'm very clear how I want the work we're doing at the Qube to be received in the world. How I want to be received in the world has never been part of my equation or my focus. And understanding that so often people start with me and the brands come second and third or maybe never come, right? And so having to accept that that is the truth is forcing me to have to do my own work again. So it is important. It is very important. And I should be able to put words around it. And I'm working on it. Maybe y'all have me back and I'll have some words for that.
Is your business, is that a part of you? Or is that all of you?
It's a part of me, but it sure does take up a lot of space. I feel like I've taken all the good and some of the challenging parts from my parents, who were also, who they were in the world, and their work was such a big part of who they were and how they showed up. I've taken some of the best parts and some of the worst parts of that for myself. And so one of the questions my coach asked me was, so Anna, how do you introduce yourself outside of a professional mode? And I was like, I don't even know what that means. I'm Anna at home, and I'm Anna with my family. And I don't introduce myself at all. Matter of fact, you might not ever talk to me outside of a professional mode because I y'all that don't have many words. I like to just sit and listen and chill. And so it's something that I am thinking about, but it does take up a lot of my space. And it's so funny you ask this, but yes, it is a big part of who I am. My work is, and that saying like this isn't personal. This is just business. I'd be like, I don't even know what that means. Both of my businesses I started because I care deeply about something or someone or a group of people, and it is incredibly personal. And I really wouldn't want it to be any other way, because the people that we're serving so often have experienced so much harm from other places that I must take this extremely personal, because the people listening are situated in so many different places and spaces that there's a certain amount of care that comes along with that. And if it's just business, I don't feel like business is care. So yeah, it's personal.
I so want to not change that for you. I want to change the idea that business isn't personal, because we've lost our humanity around business. Business should be personal.
I agree. It should be. Chile. The way I was taught, though, corporate America, it is.
I know.
Not.
Well, I was practicing attorney. You think I was taught that?
Exactly.
Not personal. I'm just going to take all this from you.
Exactly.
That's personal.
It's very personal. Absolutely. Yeah. Unlearning that when I quit corporate, unlearning all of the bad things that I wanted to let go. It's taken quite some time. I'm still working through it myself as different situations, scenarios show themselves, you know? You're like, oh no, I don't want to do it that way. It's so easy to go back to what you've been taught. And so challenging myself all the time to unlearn and to do things differently is a part of this work too.
Well, there aren't many models to do it differently. So
Mhm.
we also have to create those models as we're building.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and this comes back full circle, right? To say, like, if we can't see it out in the world, then how do we do it? And the more that we step into those spaces and build businesses that are personal, that are and successful, right? And that starts to show others what is possible and what is like this new truth, right? Like what is new, because I've seen it where people fall back all the time, right? They try something new or they try something different. They want to be more human in their conversations and their sales process, like whatever that is. As a business owner, we try it and then it doesn't, maybe it doesn't land or it doesn't work, and we go immediately go, well, right, then I must be doing something wrong. And so
Mm.
I'll go back to that old way. It didn't feel great, but at least it paid some of the bills.
Yeah.
I know that's been my struggle as I try to build my business. It's like I try something and then there's all of this loudness that comes at you, right? It's like, but this is how you do it. This is how corporate America says. This is how you build a business. This is how you're successful. This is what you do. And I'm like, well, I'm not successful doing it my own way, so I must have to change something. And I change something and then it feels shitty. And I'm not really successful and I feel shitty about it. Right. And then I go try, and I have to, right. Like it's that trust that something different can work, and the trust that I can actually build something different. We get pulled back all the time. And then it takes us longer. I don't know. Like, have you seen that? Have you seen that happen?
Yeah. All the time. All the time. It takes a little longer. I experiment constantly. I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we're out here trying to forge our own paths and we're not actively experimenting. And the moment experimentation got into my lexicon around entrepreneurship, I was set free. It became less about failure and success. It became far less about that and more about being able, having the freedom to try something. And because when experimentation was introduced to me for business, it gave me the freedom to fail, because that is the expectation in science. The expectation in science is that sometimes the experiment will work and sometimes it won't. And it also gave me the framework around science and experimentation that there's all these external factors that can absolutely impact whether or not it works or not. And so then you try again and you just change one of those factors and then maybe it'll work. But it's not how we're taught how to live life. It's like set apart just for science, but it's also very applicable to us. Liz, you could try something and it not work, but there's so many reasons why it could not have worked at that time.
Yeah.
It could have been the time it launched. It could have been something happening in the world. It could have been factors that had absolutely nothing to do with your execution, your language, where you decided to post it, the price. It could have been so many other things, you know? And so for me, it has been putting on a lens of experimentation. It has been being willing to fail and not seeing that as a bad thing, but a necessary thing that has freed me so much to just try new things and not be such a Virgo. Hmm. Yeah.
Facts on that. What are some of your favorite experiments?
Cool. Well, just did one recently with the Qube. So everybody remember early in 2025 when TikTok disappeared. Blink of an eye, gone. Blink of an eye, somehow it came back. That's a whole nother story.
Mm.
Whole nother podcast for another day. But it was when that happened, it became real that we are really not doing a great job about preserving our stories in these digital spaces. How quite literally they could choose at any time to turn off the servers. Do you have your stuff saved somewhere? How are we actively preserving our stories when they have literally the power to just say it's over? at any moment. And so I had met these folks at a podcasting conference who were doing podcast merchandising. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. You know, I do merchandise on my own. And so I was like, but one thing they had was albums. And I was like, what y'all doing with this album? And they said, we're putting podcasts on vinyl. And I said, well, that is quite interesting. Then months later, TikTok went down. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I could put some podcasts on vinyl. I don't know. Maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't. Let's see. And I started doing these in-person activations at home. I had I did a tour around the country before, but I hadn't done anything at home in Chicago. I was like, I'm gonna stay at home. The elections were happening. I was like, Orange Man is looking like he might win. Me traveling the country with some Black and queer podcasts probably is not going to go as well as it has been going. It'll be a lot more challenging for people to find funding and money to bring me in, all these things. So I said, I'm going to focus on being at home. So I started these things called the Podcast Salon. That was one experiment where we highlight and feature 2 or 3 Black or brown podcasters. We bring in silent headphones. They give me compelling clips to play. We learn about their work. We listen to their work, and we have a conversation. That experiment started to go. I was like, oh, this is working. People showing up and having a good time. Okay. And then I decided to put these compelling clips on vinyl and see if it could work. And we ended up with 80-some people that said that they wanted to secure their vinyl. And when we dropped the link, we ended up with 56 people who bought an album. And because of the price point, I'm actually able to get 100 of them pressed. So we're going to press 100 vinyls of podcast clips of Black and brown creators and be a place of discovery and preserving voices with this vinyl record. And so that's the most recent experiment that was really, really dope. It was really, really dope. And so I'm excited for people not only to hear it, but I'm also excited to see if it sells inside of some record shops here in the city, see if we do another volume for 2026 and keep it going. I mean, comedians, preachers back in the day would put all everybody whose spoken word is their focus would put stuff on vinyl. So why not podcasts?
Absolutely. And I know folks who have been to the listening parties. What did you call them? Activation?
Salons.
Like
salons.
Yeah, salons. I should know that word. Salons. Such a cool, I did message you and I said, I'm so sad. This is like one reason I'm sad I'm not in Chicago at this moment. Because it sounded so amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing.
Yeah. And that was an experiment too. I had these ideas come across my brain. Lots of ideas actually come across my brain. Now, at this good age, sometimes I hold on to them a little bit and let them ripen and roll them around with some folks. And other ones, I just go. And the listening events was one I had asked around a little bit. I was like, I'm just going to go and see what happens. And people receive them so well. People who don't listen to podcasts at all receive them so well. And I knew that if I focus on people who do listen to podcasts, that they would absolutely love it. Because we don't do it in community. It's not something we do in community. It's something we do by ourselves, you know? And so when you do it with community and then everybody's reacting at the same things, and everybody's laughing at the same things, everybody's having these compelling crying moments all at the same time, they want to talk about them. And what better person to talk about it than the person who created it right with you right there in that moment. And so they have been going so well. So I'm looking forward to keeping it going in 2026.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
It's been fun to watch, right? Knowing that some of these were experiments for you, and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to fucking try it. Whatever.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And it's been a lot of fun. And that's why I wanted to know kind of what are your favorite ones like that you've been playing with.
Yeah, definitely the podcast salon. Definitely the vinyl record is one I played with. It's funny. I was just at the same conference where I learned about the vinyl. The same company now, they had podcast trading cards. So they put podcasters on trading cards. And I said, that's just fascinating. I don't know if they'd ever maintain any value whatsoever to anybody other than the people that love them. But what a fascinating idea. I don't know if I'll experiment with that just yet, but you know.
They have trading cards for everything now. I mean, it is pretty fascinating. I suppose if you collect things like that, it would be, I mean, I'm more interested in the vinyl personally because
Same.
It just needs something to play it on.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing. I think it's funny. I think a lot of people don't even have record players, right? But we are going to have a digital version for those who buy the record that you can listen to it on the go. It's not out there for the public. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. Have to get my copy because I mean, I still have my vinyl collection. I literally don't know any way to listen.
Yeah. And that's real. I think that's a lot of people. But maybe we invigorate that in this moment. I'm think in this moment where digital is becoming scary in some ways, especially with
Mhm.
the advent of AI and how AI is being used and the mistrust happening on the internet. I think there's a lot of people who want to go back to holding something, who want to go offline. I think we've all seen an increase of in-person events, right? I feel like we're all coming out of the COVID bubble in some ways. And so being able to hold something, be with people, I think that is absolutely where we're going.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
And being in community to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that layer of like, how do we hold our stories, right? Like to have something physical to hang on to, yeah, that changes everything, I think too. I could just see, I'd be just walking around with my own record all the time if I got pressed into vinyl. I had to put that on my bucket list. How do I get myself on vinyl?
Period.
Yeah. Right?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting because we started from that place of the importance, right? That was the first question I asked. Why are our stories so important? And what's so interesting is what in Louise, what you just shared and Anna, what you were sharing too, it's like, yes, it's important for others to hear us. It's also important going back to what you were saying about yourself of how do you see yourself, right? How important is it for us to hear our own stories?
Yeah, I'll watch a bad black queer movie in a minute just because they black and queer. It ain't even gotta be
Yeah.
good. I mean, I
Yeah.
just still yearn so deeply to see myself reflected, right? Or the people I am in community with reflected in some type of way in our stories told, right? I think it is just so important. Otherwise, we get isolated. I remember what that felt like in my teens and early 20s, where I felt like I was the only one as a kid who went to school at PWIs and let me predominantly white institutions, and coming from the south side of Chicago to dropping me in Des Moines, Iowa. Chile. Where are my people? Okay.
Mhm.
So there that can never be underestimated. The power of that can never be underestimated. And there will always be another generation who is feeling those same things. Even if the landscape looks different, there's still a little bit level of isolation where you feel like I can't reach out and touch someone maybe that looks and feels like me or feeling the same way that I am. So if we can do our part, I really do feel this way. If we all can just do what we called to do and do our part, we'll be okay. But so often we don't always have the privilege to do that. And so I feel like I've been privileged enough to do that. I feel like my family's support has really been unparalleled, right? And I'm in a place where I can, and since I can, I will.
Is there anything else that you want to make sure that people are taking away from our conversation today from that place of being able to see themselves and not feel so isolated?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't see yourself, create it, chill it. And let me tell you, I hate it. Okay, 10 years, decade ago, I decided I wanted to start running. Who knows why, but I did, and I fell in love with running. And a sister in the community, I was in a neighborhood. There was a group called Black Girls Run, and I was in a neighborhood where there wasn't a chapter running every morning. And this sister who was like, "Well, Anna, you created." I was like, "I don't want to. I just want to show up." I just want to show up and run with other people. I don't want to be the point of contact. She said, "Well, it don't exist. So if you don't do it, you ain't going to have it." Alas, we started a running group in that area because I wanted to run and meet my people. So it's just this thing where we have to make a decision. If it doesn't exist and you don't see anybody doing it, then create it. It is just that simple. And if somebody is out here doing it, see how you can support them and get involved. And if you get involved and you start to support and it ain't your jam, there's something about it that don't feel right, then go create something that does. I don't think there can ever be enough. There's always something for somebody. And if it's not created, so I challenge you to create it if it don't exist.
Yeah, I love that. And don't be scared of failing at it, whatever it is, right? It's an
Right.
experiment. Right? As long as I think you're connected to it, how it manifests out into the world, you get to play with that. You get to see what it could look like, and what it can be. But as long as you're connected to that cause, it'll figure itself out, as long as you're trying.
100%. Failure is not a bad thing. It's a necessary thing.
Yeah.
It's a human thing.
Yeah.
It's a human thing. Be proud of the failures.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Be proud of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Just showing up.
Showing up is, I think, 90% of the work. I promise God.
At
I don't know what we're
least.
doing with the other 10%, but getting out of my house is, yeah, that's 90% of the work. Truly, showing up. Because time is something we can never get back. I can do a lot of things and I can redo some things, but time is something you can't redo. It is going to keep moving forward with or without you, right? And so when people decide to show up for you or show up in a space, that is something that we really ought not take for granted. Because some days it's real hard to get out the bed. Some days it's really hard to get out the house. So I think showing up is like 90% of the work. You made it. Okay, you made it. That's enough. That is enough. So show up. Absolutely. Yeah.
Great reminder.
Yeah. So Anna, if folks want to show up more in your space, where can they find and connect with you?
I see what you did there.
Do you like that?
I did. I love it. You can follow me at Anna DeShawn across all the socials. You can follow my radio station, E3 Radio, across all socials, E3 Radio. If you're into podcasting, you want to discover and find a new favorite pod, that's the Qube, TheQube app across social, and you'll find me. Get locked in. We have a good time over in my little piece of the internet.
Yeah, you do.
I love it.
We are so glad that you came to join us today and have this conversation and continue to create the impact that you're making in the world by our conversation today, by having new people find you and the work that you're doing. And just, I'm excited to continue to watch the ride because it is fun to watch, my friend. It is fun to watch.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm so happy to join y'all. Louise, great to meet you. And
Yeah.
to your audience, you keep taking care of these two. Okay, you keep listening. It's important. I appreciate you.
Thanks. Thank you. And thank you, dear listener. We do appreciate you. And we're looking forward to next time. Until then, take care, everyone.
Bye for now.
And that's all for this week's episode of the Empowered and Embodied Show. We hope today's episode has sparked something within you. Remember, we're all on this journey together. If something did resonate with you today, why not share it with a friend who might need to hear it too? You can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review. Your feedback not only helps others find the show, but also helps us understand what's most valuable to you. Until next time, be kind to yourself, stay curious, and remember, we're walking right alongside you. Thanks for being part of our community.